So first, just a quick introduction to Dimitris. He's the co-founder of the Found.ation Startup Accelerator in Greece, and also the founder of TEDxAthens, which is one of the 5 largest TEDx events worldwide. And as I said before, I'm Marc Robert Wong. I'm the founder and executive director of TeenTechSF Global. So speaking of entrepreneurship, kind of the other main thing that you're working on is the Found.ation Startup Accelerator Hub. Just a quick question about that. Could you explain kind of what the purpose is of a startup accelerator, and then also kind of what happens with you, or what are you up to in a typical day during your work there?
Typically, an accelerator is targeting first-time entrepreneurs. So this means that you have never tried again to set up a venture. You have no clue how to run this thing from a legal point of view, accounting point of view, how to really, sit down and write a complete business plan and financial plan, how to find maybe your co-founders or your first employees. So our job, and I think that's the case for every acceleration program in the world, is to accelerate your process. It's our job to make sure you stay focused in one thing only. That's how to build your company. Typically, an acceleration program provides a space, a working space. They provide some sort of like funding. Some programs have a more, let's say, social, or a more social approach when it comes to funding. So they provide funding in the form of a grant. So they don't really expect, this money back from you. Some other accelerators, typically, this is the Y Combinator model. They get some equity. So they get a small percentage of your company to not just to give you money, but to give you a whole package of resources, support, a platform you can use for the first months of your existence. So an acceleration program typically has a curriculum, somehow. Some programs have, and they're really focused around education. Some others use more like a crash course kind of approach. So it's not like you have like 3 to 4 hours every day to really, go through this business planning 101 class or whatever. They just offer very specific thematic workshops. To say a few things about our foundation programs. We started about 4 years ago. We have run like 6.5, because there's an ongoing batch right now. Acceleration programs in Greece, all of them were free of charge, no fee for the entrepreneurs. All of them were equity free for the founders, for the entrepreneurs, and we got funded by large corporates and some government projects and programs. Right now, we're kind of shifting this model. So we're raising our very own first-time institutional fund. So it's going to be a proper venture capital vehicle, and it's going to be like anywhere between 20 to 25 million euro to invest in up to 80 companies in the next 5 years. So this means that we're going to also change our deal we're going to offer to our entrepreneurs. So we're going to start taking equity, because it makes a lot of sense. In less mature ecosystem, and I think this is the case also in the States, aside of San Francisco, New York, Boston, maybe, the pre-seed thing. So the very first money you will need to move forward and set up your team and start working on your project. I'm just talking about 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000. There's a gap there. There's a gap because less mature ecosystems don't really have what we call angel investors, so individuals working in individual capacity, investing their own money under their own investment thesis, and they don't really have institutional investors, so a team of professionals investing that early, because it's super risky. They're gonna lose their money. Probably we're gonna lose our money. At the end of the day, we're also investing in our fund, and we are funded by other investors and corporate entities as well. So this is the deal. Ideally, you're gonna start your entrepreneurial career in a startup accelerator.
We have 2 more questions from TeenTech Washington, and then I think that's probably all the time we have before the roundtable discussion.
Perfect, yeah.
Hi, I'm Zoe Pottinger, a co-president of TeenTech Washington, and my question is, what do you like to see in a sales or product pitch?
I think you have to be very clear about what's the key differentiation point your product has, and the second is why I guess this pitch goes to investors, right? This is a question how you can differentiate and what to include in your pitch to investors. I think the second most important thing is a team. So I think what we're currently missing is that most teams don't really have a very good answer when it comes to why you are the team that's gonna be the successful team in your industry. Do you have some sort of a prior working experience? Have you worked with NASA and you're actually building a new aerodynamic space product or whatever? So a very clear product definition that's not overwhelming, that's really simple and easy to communicate, and your team. So create a story that makes sense, or why your team is the right team to tackle with this problem.
My question is, what are your tips for dealing with venture capitalists? And by that I mean, how do you get the money you want without giving up too much equity?
This is a market thing, like in ecosystem like in Europe, where you don't have so many different financing options. The whole thing is kind of set. I guess for the States, this is not really true, especially for big hubs like the Valley. So I guess it's a negotiation. If you are able to find a better deal, go to your previous investor, the company that has already explained that we want to be part of your company and want to invest in you, and be like, I got this better offer. Can you compete with that in terms of the value you're gonna bring in the company, or even the economics of the deal? So the valuation, and then have a very, very good understanding of your market, because depending on the market, the valuation can go up and down pretty fast. And these folks, the VCs, know all these things. So you're not gonna get the same valuation if you're a B2B company, if you're a marketplace. B2C tend to be better valuated companies, to say it this way.